be a manager. That is so like just, he is screaming on the phone going,
she's a fucking liar. She is a fucking liar. She lied about this just like she lied about her name tag.
What's up you guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm Katie Alyssa, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how I finally quit my job after 3 years of working in this hellhole. Okay? I got hired at this sushi restaurant. I got hired on as a phones person, so basically I just took to-go orders and I would answer the phone and all that stuff. Then after a year of that, pretty much I started doing serving, so that was like a year and a half right around. And so I worked there from April 1st, 2017, and then my last day was like July 14th, 2019. I've experienced some things there, and I kind of wanted to talk about a couple little things, a couple little problems that I had, and then I want to get into the night that I actually put in my 2 weeks finally, because I was like, I gotta go. So I wanted to put in a disclaimer first of all. So number one, I no longer work for this company, obviously, so I don't owe them anything, they don't owe me anything. There's nothing that links me and that company together anymore. Two, everything that I'm going to be stating is all my personal opinion, my personal experience, and I am not going to be mentioning the name of the company, any of my coworkers' names, or real names for that matter. And I'm also not going to be speaking for other people in this situation. So let's get into why I quit my job. So I guess the main problem that I'm gonna be having an issue with is one of the kitchen staff members. So let's call this guy, what's like a really douche name? Brad. Sorry if your name's Brad, but Brad. He worked in the kitchen, he was a kitchen staff member, and he was kind of the whole, like, just the whole underlying problem of why I had to quit on top of all the other reasons. So a little bit about him. A red flag I noticed within literally the first week of working there was when I would make a mistake, because obviously it was, you know, my first week, my second week of working, obviously, and I'm not familiar with the menu and everything, so mistakes happen. He would literally call me stupid. Literally call me stupid in like the most serious way. He was like, one time he literally told me, he was like, I'm laughing now because I can't believe I'd ever put up with this, but he was like, wow, like, you are so stupid, like, you're probably the most stupid person ever that has worked here, like even more stupid than the person before you, who we thought was by far the stupidest. Like, you beat them, you win, you're the stupidest. And I was like, thank you, like I've won this crown. Results were always there. There was always this, like, he had this major power trip, and we'll definitely get into that. So aside from him, let's put him aside for a second, because I feel like that's already enough. That already gives you a picture of this guy. Let's talk about 4 problems that I had with just the company in general. So this was not like a very, like, this wasn't like a franchise or like a well-known, like it was a very small restaurant. So it was a small company, and with that comes a lot of issues in itself, because, so for example, when I worked they couldn't get away with a lot of shit. Especially when it came to like breaks and pay and stuff like that, because they're literally being watched at all times. All the employees are part of a union. So, I mean, they're really watching you. And even the Ralph's, like, managers themselves, pretty much all the Ralph's managers I had, they were really, really, you know, just by the book for everything, because they didn't want to get sued. Because it was such a big company, they're being watched. So therefore, when you go to a smaller company that's not being watched by a union, not being watched by anybody, it's kind of just, you know, free range, a lot of problems ensue because no one is watching them. So the first thing, not getting paid overtime. So there's really nothing more to say about this and really nothing less to say about this. We didn't get paid overtime. Me personally, I never really worked enough to even get into the threshold of getting overtime. But a lot, if you were like a sushi chef or like a kitchen staff member, you definitely were getting to the point where you should be making overtime, or even if you know, you're working on holidays. When I worked at Ralph's, when I'd work on a holiday or on a Sunday, I'd get time and a half. So I mean, it was great. So that's a perk of the company. Also, I can't really say, you know, this or that about it, because it's like, you know, I was working there, like people were putting up with that, so you can't really say much about it because that's what you're getting yourself into. But it was a little weird. So no overtime, and I know that people have asked my manager about it before, and it was just like, nah, like, no, don't even want to talk about it. So yeah, no overtime. Number 2 was managers taking tips. So this was really weird to me, and I didn't really understand it, because it's like, so if we were low on like any staff member, right? So a manager, you know, the 2 managers who like own the restaurant, one of them would come in and they'd work and they'd take tips. You guys tell me if at your restaurants, so like when a manager works, like do they take tips? Because I think that if you own the company, there's no reason for you to be taking tips. Like, it's your company. It is like, it's your company. And these are a bunch of minimum wage workers. So I didn't really understand that personally, but number 3 is managers doing the tip shares at the end of the night. So again, I don't know how you guys do it at bigger restaurants, but when it comes to our tip share at the end of the night, what we would do is we would have to call the manager and tell her what time certain people left, and then she would give us the way to split and like dictate the tips, which I never really understood, because you aren't like, I really think the time that someone leaves doesn't matter. It's like, you're not there to see who's actually working really hard, or who's doing their job the correct way and being efficient, or who's going, you know, above and beyond to help other people. You're not there to see that. So I really think it should have been left in the hands of the waitresses, because they're the ones who are closing the restaurant. They're the ones who are there, you know, all day, and they're seeing how everyone's performing and how everyone's working. So I don't really think it should have been up to a manager who wasn't even there in the first place to see it. And the last major company I had with the problems, so the 4th problem, was the way we split tips like in the middle of the day. So I actually filmed this video once before, and I didn't really like the way that I didn't really like any of the video, but I really specifically didn't like the way that I explained this part. So let me try to explain it like again for you guys. We would have an opening person come in. That person would work from 10:45 to 3 o'clock. That is the opening shift. Then that person would leave, and another server would come in, and they would work from, so they would be the 3 o'clock server, and then they work anywhere up until 8 o'clock or whatever. Whenever it was slow, the closing server would send them home. The closing server comes back, usually it's the person who also opens, so they come back at 5:30. That's the beginning of their shift. So the person who got there at 3 o'clock tips out themselves and the to-go person and the sushi chefs and everyone who's there. So that server was by themselves serving from 3 o'clock till 5:30. But for some reason, the tip cutoff was 5 o'clock. So it didn't really make sense, because a lot of the times all of our rushes started at 5 o'clock, because we'd have like all you can eat or like a bunch of different specials that always started at 5 o'clock. So it doesn't make sense for the tips to be cut off at 5 o'clock when at 5 o'clock you're still by yourself, like waiting for the 5:30 server to come in. So it never really made sense to me. It just, I don't get why that would be that way. Why wouldn't you just cut the tips off right at 5:30 when the second server comes? I really have no idea how that made sense. This is where the tea comes in, all the screenshots come in. I have all the screenshots I want to show you guys, and that is where they come in right now. Like towards the end of the shift, at this point, I'm the only server who's there, and we're really close to taking last call, but it is still so busy in the restaurant. There are so many people, I have to take last call, I still have to get drinks for some people, like there's still a bunch of stuff going on, and I'm super stressed out. And also that was another problem in itself at the company, was always being understaffed. It's really busy, and I go into the kitchen, and guess who's back there? What did I call him? Brad. Brad's back there. Now let me just mention, this whole entire night, he was being nice to me. Like, so nice to me. So this goes into like, he was so bipolar. It was like, he was gonna love you one day and he was gonna hate your guts the next day and make your life a living hell. And it was like, you never knew what to expect to him. It was like, it was the worst thing ever. So, I go back there and I'm opening up a beer bottle, and the beer bottle accidentally goes flying. And it gets wedged in between like our freezer and the wall. So it's like, what the fuck was that motion? It's like wedged in between a freezer and a wall. And literally in the process of it, like so quickly, this guy goes,
"You better pick that up."
It's like, that. So I was, you know, I was already very stressed out considering the fact that it was so busy in the restaurant and everything like that. And then the fact that the millisecond it happened and he heard it happen and he's gonna start the conversation off so rudely is ridiculous. So I was like, you're not gonna talk to me like that. I was already on my way out of the kitchen by the time he spoke to me like that, so I go, I'll pick it up when I come back, I'm really busy. He goes,
"You better pick it up now."
Now. You better pick it up right now. And I was like, I will pick it up when I come back. I am busy. I don't care to pick up this beer cap right now. And he goes, his like little brain, like all he gets from that is,
"Oh, you don't care? You don't care? You don't care?
You don't care? You don't care?" Sure, I don't care. No, I don't care at all. So he goes, okay. Goes and starts texting my manager. Let me remind you, this guy had just been promoted to manager. Let me just say he was the last person who ever should have been having a manager title with how insane he was. But for some reason, she decided to make him a manager, so he was a manager at this point. You cannot handle a situation as small as a bottle cap falling, and you need to go text the boss when you already have the manager title. You shouldn't be a manager. That is so like, just like, are you four? Like, deal with it on your own. Go pick it up for all I care. Like, so I come back in and he's not talking to me obviously, but I picked up the bottle cap and I actually stuck it in my apron just because I was like, for example, like it was so busy that like I just wasn't even like thinking straight. I was like, I'll just put it in my apron because it was quicker than walking over to the trash can. So he was on his phone texting, and he obviously texted her, but I didn't know that at the time, honestly, because he always would threaten to, you know, call her on us, which by the end he started doing a ton. Then I go back outside and, back where all the people are, and the to-go kid that I had there is about to go home. Now, he couldn't really help me that much with it being busy because he's a to-go person. Like, there's very, very, very limited with what he can do. And he was literally about to clock out, so it's like I wasn't about to tell him to do anything, really. And everyone kind of had what they needed at the time, so it was like, okay, like my chance to start doing other closing stuff that I had to do. And the phone starts ringing, he picks it up because he's the phones person, and it's our boss. And she asks to speak to me. And then I go, hello? She goes, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, you tell me, nothing. And she's like, what's going on with Brad? Like, he said that he told you to pick something up and you said you don't care. What's that about? Let me just tell you, throughout this whole night, she was pretty much blaming it all on me. She was pissed. Like, I could tell she was mad at me, which made me even more frustrated. So I tell her, you know what? I said I didn't care to pick it up at the moment, and he can't speak to me in that tone, and that's really it. I picked it up the second time I went in there. She's like, well, he said you didn't pick it up. I was like, the second time I went in there, I picked up the bottle cap. There was nothing else to it. I picked up the bottle cap. And she's like, okay. And you could just tell she was like frustrated with me. I could tell. So then she hangs up and I walk into the kitchen. This is what like made me the most mad, okay? So I walk into the kitchen and she had called him back to tell him, you know, what I said. And all you hear is him talking. He's right in front of everyone. I can hear him, he knows I can hear him, he knows everyone there can hear him. And he is screaming on the phone going,
she's a fucking liar. She is a fucking liar. She lied about this just like she lied about her name tag.
By the way, one time I didn't wear my name tag to work and he had a hissy fit and called her about it. It was ridiculous. So after I heard him yelling like that, I just kept getting more and more angry, and eventually I got everyone out of the restaurant, so we were closed, right? So no customers are in the restaurant at this point. I keep thinking about it in my head as I continue to do my stuff, and I keep getting more and more pissed off and more pissed off and more mad because so many things I could have told her about him that I never did because I'm not 4 years old. So it made me so mad, and I eventually started crying, and I actually texted Matt this picture. I said, I am so fucking mad. I sent him a picture of me crying, and I said, crying in the bathroom, LOL. I can't even leave the bathroom. I texted her and I said, I'm gonna put it in the screenshot right here, and everything's like blocked out so you can't really see any like personal information, but I said, hi, I am honestly so upset right now with Brad in this situation, and his attitude problem is insane. I cannot talk to him about anything. I would have called you to speak, but genuinely I'm so mad I can't speak to anyone. I need to never be scheduled with him anymore. So this is very true about me. So when I'm like really upset over something, I can't talk about it because I will start crying, and then I literally can't even formulate a sentence without crying. So then she called me on the restaurant phone, and she's like, hey, what's going on? Why didn't you answer the iPhone? So we have an iPhone at my work that we just use for like a calculator basically. And she tried FaceTiming that iPhone, but I wasn't near that phone. So then she's like, why weren't you near the phone? And I'm like, I was getting change. Like, she's like, okay, well, I wanted to like FaceTime so I could see the both of you and talk to the both of you. And as she starts saying that, I take the phone back. So I go near like the bathrooms, and what do you know, the second I get back there, Brad walks through the door, goes into the bathroom, and slams the door as loud as possible. The second he slammed the door and starts showing aggression like that, I start bawling my eyes out. Actually, in fact, when I told my dad this story, he knew that the second I said he slammed it that I would start crying. He's like, of course, like you're gonna get scared and start crying. So yeah, he slams the door, I start crying on the phone, and then she keeps talking about how she wants to talk to the both of us. I'm crying on the phone. Let me just mention, you guys, I don't cry at work. I don't make a big scene. I don't complain to the manager. It's not like I go to every job I go to, right? Like I'm the girl who's really dramatic and cries and everything. Trust me, like, no, that's literally not me. And I had never spoken to my manager like this before, but I was so fed up with everything that I had put up with. And I said, nope. I said, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to look at him. I don't want to think about him. I don't even want to have a conversation with you right now about him, because this is so ridiculous the way that he is acting. The fact that he even had to call you over this in the first place, like I'm just so upset. I keep saying, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. She's like, well, like I need to talk to the both of you to figure this out. He walks out of the bathroom. He goes back to the kitchen, goes to the kitchen sink. He's back there. She's so persistent on having us talk. I'm getting so frustrated. I said, whatever. I walk to the back of the kitchen. I go up to him. I take the phone away from my ear and I put it in his face so she can hear him. I go, you're telling her I said that I just don't care in general when I said I didn't care to do it at the moment, and you had a rude tone with me. And he's like, no, you said this, blah, blah, blah. So we're going back and forth. I bring the phone back to my ear, to her saying, Katie, stop yelling, stop yelling. If I was yelling, I was just matching his fucking tone. I was not yelling, like, and I'm like, okay. And I'm so upset on the phone. I walk away from him. She goes, like, why don't you just go home? Because like, you're obviously so upset. I'll come and close the restaurant. And I said, fine, bye. So I leave, I go outside. Of course, his smug ass walks out there, starts smoking a cigarette, like, oh, he's so cool, oh, he doesn't care. I'm like, do you even know the amount of stuff that I could say about you right now to literally get you out of this restaurant? Like, gone. So don't even start acting like you're so cool, you're so smug, you don't care. You should be scared. You should be scared. I leave. I'm sitting in the car, I'm hysterically crying, obviously not at work anymore. And then she texted me saying, I'm on my way back to the store to close, are you okay? I texted her back and I said, I'm sorry that I cried. I'm the last person to ever cry or make a scene at work, but every little thing that upsets him, he becomes so angry all the time. He slams, he yells, or he just all around ignores us and makes it such a hostile work environment. So that's really true, by the way, like really quickly, like if anyone makes a mistake or if he's just in a bad mood already for whatever else is going on in his life, he would just make it hell for us. Like he would just try to piss off all of the servers in any way that he possibly could. So that's very true. If blank and blank were here, they would agree with me. It's a reoccurring thing. Just like how you saw, and I mentioned two coworkers. She was working earlier that night, but she had left at this point. And I mentioned these two coworkers that weren't getting along. I said, just like how you saw blank get frustrated with blank, or if it's busy, is the same way. And he will be so rude. And the fact that he is a manager and can be in charge is a major problem because all the power goes to his head and it really, really makes him so mean. I am honestly so upset. I said, I appreciate you for going to close. I'm just sitting in my car right now texting you this. He makes me so mad. And I know you and Brad are friends. I know you like him, but he doesn't treat people, me, properly. If something doesn't go his way, and if no one is going to believe me, then I can't do this anymore. So then at this point she calls me, and it's like a 6-minute convo. You see it right there. And she's on the phone with me telling, like basically we're having the same conversation over and over again. And then she randomly brings up out of nowhere, well, did you cuss at him? Like, where did this come from? You didn't say this to me the first 8 times you talked to me. No, I didn't cuss at him. How about, want to talk about cussing, when I walked into the kitchen and he's on the phone screaming cussing to you about me. So no, I said, no, I didn't cuss to him. She goes, okay. And I go, so again, she's not believing me this literally entire time that we're having this conversation. And as an employee to a manager, you want to feel like your manager's got your back, right? So all employees back. So you're not taking sides. You're not being petty and immature and childish. You want to feel like your employee has your back. I didn't feel like that in this situation at all. And she goes, okay, well, like, I guess we're just gonna have to look at the cameras and ask for eyewitnesses and all this stuff. And I'm like, over a bottle cap, guys. At this point, I literally, like, up until this point, I literally never even thought about quitting, like, at all. Even at this point, I didn't think about quitting, not at all. It escalates real fast. So she goes, she's like, we have to look at the blah 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 and the blah 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 and ask people the blah blah, and I'm like, over a bottle cap. It's not that big of a deal. Here's where I get so triggered. If you thought I was triggered before, I'm triggered now for sure. She goes, well, it is a big deal because obviously it's a big deal because you're crying. I'm sorry, what? No. It's a big deal because he called you in the first place over a bottle cap. This whole time she keeps saying, I guess it's a big deal now, all over a bottle cap, all over a bottle cap. I go, you should be saying that to him. He's the one who called you and made this huge deal over it. He is the one who called you. So, yeah, it is a big deal over a bottle cap. So she's like, I'm like, no. And I said to her, I said, you know, he can't talk to me in that tone. If he wants someone to do something, he needs to be respectful, he needs to be mature like a manager should be, and talk to them in a way that they want to be talked to. And I kept telling her that, we kept going back and forth, and then she finally is like, you know what, you seem like, this is like, again, a 6-minute convo. She goes, you know what, you seem really upset, like, why don't we just talk about it in the morning and like when you have like a clear mind. And I go, sure, bye. After that convo, I was so pissed. So I text her and I said, hi, I think at this point, I just want to put my 2 weeks in because this is all becoming so much stress and it's all becoming so much and causing so much stress in my life, and I've tried ignoring him and other small things for so long because I need to have a job while going to school, but I just can't. He can tell you his side and I told you mine, but I can't do this anymore, I'm sorry. Again, it's not just this, it's just such a buildup of his attitude, I can't handle it anymore. And that was literally completely the truth. She didn't respond to me until like 12 o'clock or no, like 10 o'clock the next day, when she was responding to me all night, and she just said, you know, okay, well, like submit like a written 2 weeks thing and I'll wrap up your schedule. I could tell she was pissed, whatever. all throughout when I worked with her, I actually vlogged it if you guys want to go check out those videos. I'll link them down below. But I could just tell she was upset with me. She was never mean to me, but like I would be like doing my duties at work and I could just like feel her like looking at me, glaring at me, upset with me, whatever. So whatever, a couple weeks goes down, or no, a week goes by. And so the next day that I had to work, I didn't have to work till like 2 days after that, so it was like a refresher. But immediately when I got to work, I wrote down a written to thing. I just said, hi, this is my 2-week notice, bye. So I left that there for her, but I actually forgot to tell her that I left it there for her. So I ended up getting a text message from her, and what did she say? I haven't received a written notice for your 2 weeks, and based on when you verbally told me 2 weeks would be next Sunday, I'm publishing the schedule, and so I wanted to see if you're thinking of if you want to continue working at blank or get me a resignation letter. I basically responded, I don't have the screenshot, but I told her that I was on a walk with my dog. Sorry I didn't reply to you, but I actually left it there for you. Bye. And she was like, oh, okay, great, thanks. And it was so weird. The day that I left, my last day there, she said bye to me as if like she was gonna see me tomorrow. Like I could just tell she really didn't know what to say, whatever. I didn't really know what to say to her either. I feel like I just have like the future ahead of me. I feel like that whole situation needed to happen, honestly, truly, for me to realize that there are so many bigger and better things out there. There always is gonna be something you don't like about a job. But to that extent where someone is bullying you, you're not always gonna have that at a job. You can actually find that where, you know, managers act like managers and respect you, and, you know, you respect them, and it's a healthy work environment. And actually, again, like I vlogged my last day of work, and I like vlogged like a bunch more of my like actual like last day thoughts. If you guys want to watch it, I'll again link it down below. But I feel like the future's wide open. Again, I feel like that really needed to happen to kind of put me in my place and say, hey, look, you've been here for 3 years, you haven't been happy, you need to go. And I was so comfortable in my misery there, I feel like, you know, because it's like getting a new job sucks, being the new person sucks, training sucks, everything about that sucks, but you're gonna learn a new job. You're not gonna be the new person forever. You're gonna eventually, if you stick with it, you're gonna know your shit. I actually told my mom, and she ended up sending me this picture, and she said she felt bad for me. And she sent me this picture that says, when someone is mean, don't listen. When someone is rude, walk away. When someone tries to put you down, stay firm. Don't let someone's bad behavior destroy your inner peace. Like, what a sweet woman. Like, geez, like, my lady. And that's really true, and that's what I leave that with you guys today. Don't stay in any situation just because you're comfortable. It's easier said than done. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope you could take something out of it, and make sure you subscribe to my channel because I post new videos every Sunday and Wednesday, and that would suck if you missed out. Like, that would really suck for you. Yeah. So thanks, guys, and leave a comment down below and talk about, you know, your shitty job stories, or just leave a like on this video. Okay, and bye.